So this was a gymnasium, and it was estimated to be 267 meters long and 105 meters wide. It's the largest known gymnasium. I believe it. But that would be in the Greco-Roman Empire. If you look at it, it is enormous. That says a lot about how large the population was here. I was here before, but I can't remember taking this in. So this is the largest gymnasium ever built at the time, and it is enormous. I've never seen anything so close to this, okay? And also in this shape, this condition. And you can still see all the stones that went into this. Amazing, amazing, absolutely amazing. I mean, one room after the other. Here's a circular, half circle, maybe it was circular structure. Beautiful column made out of golden red stone. Sometimes you just get shocked when you walk around this area, you know. I came here to visit the Hecate temple, and this is a town that was associated with it. And I was thinking, should I go back there again? It wasn't that interesting. But little did I know that with my previous visits here, I didn't see much of it. So I'm just taking a look here. Whew. Yeah. Okay, so this is the gymnasium. This is an antique city, okay? But the Turks built houses here, and maybe the Greeks. You can still see them here, okay? And they had to probably tell the residents to move out, that they could then start excavating what they knew was here, and the residents knew that as well. But luckily they didn't do too much damage to the structures here. Now you don't even see that many stones from the temple built into the walls here, and that's sort of atypical. Okay, so as far as I remember, I'm walking down to the agora. I'm almost certain. Even here you see stones, maybe some stones, but not major stones. It's just that I'm so glad that I came back here. I don't know why I was reluctant to come back. Here, you see now, here, they just planted a garden here with tomatoes. That's what's so nice. They integrate a garden here in one of the most, well, I don't know if it's an important temple complex or ancient cities, but it is definitely impressive. And now we're going to go to the Roman bath, the theater, the Bouleuteria, and this is where they did the Senate. And it's all in Turkish, it doesn't matter. It's almost the same in Turkish and English and German. And look at this now. This was the central meeting place for this town. Extraordinary. This town was enormous. I have no idea how many people lived here, but judging by the size of the gymnasium, there must have been a population in excess of 300,000 or 400,000 people. And now I'm just going to go down here. You can do it. The latrina. The latrina located between Roman Bath 1 and... I don't know what a latrina was. I thought it might be a toilet, but apparently not. And this is, you know, last time I was here, I was with a friend, Glenn, who sadly passed away. And Glenn lived in Didma. And when I came here, he had a hard time walking because he smoked a lot and enjoyed his happy hours, as it were. A brilliant man. And he kept an eye on all of the excavation. Look at this beautiful stone here. Projects here in this part of the world. And was often complained about how they used new marble, like here, to recreate this. This is marble, this is not cement. To recreate these pillars. Especially in an Apollo temple down the road here. They did that. And he thought it looked awkward, and I agreed with him. But now when I look at this, and especially when it ages now, let's say in 5 years, and if you look at that, they did a pretty damn good job, actually. You know, and if it ages, then it'll start appearing brown and take some color on. So I think I have to, I mean, Glenn was very protective of the Apollo site in Didma. That was his baby. But truth be told, I have no problem with that right now. I say, okay, yeah, this is the toilet. That's what this is. That's what they call the latrine. So now you see you see the toilets lined up here. They recreated those as well out of white marble. And this is where everybody, the rich and the poor, would come to do their morning constitutions. And the water ran down through here and washed it all away. And the fresh water ran through here, this channel here, the fresh water. And they would take a brush and just clean themselves up. It was modern back then. For us, it seems a little bit primitive. You know, we tend to see things through our eyes today, which we shouldn't. Now I'm just gonna walk down here. I didn't plan to make a video, but it's almost irresistible. I'm wondering about these layers here. I'm wondering why this is elevated and this is recessed in the ground. I guess because they built the city on a slope. And now you can see the stonework they did here. And I would guess that we're probably in the marketplace area, the Agora here. So this would be the heart of the city here, actually. This is where everybody would come to get their vegetables, their meat. And maybe there are some temples around here, I'm sure there were, where they would pray to a god, one or the other. Hecate was the primary deity here. At least for the Greeks, I don't know for the Romans afterwards. Although the Romans did embrace Hecate, but they really distorted her into a three-headed goddess, which has nothing to do with the Hecate that was here venerated. And then I'll just walk up here and then I'll stop filming it. I'm sorry, I just can't get enough of this stuff. I don't know why. And then we come up here, and now you can see they're still excavating. And up there is a theater, and I'll go there. It's in disrepair. They're repairing it, but we should go there. And I will. And here they're still excavating. And I think they're probably pretty overwhelmed, first of all, to excavate, and then to identify what the buildings were used for. It always befuddles me that there's no record of this in Athens or in Rome. That I would think that all the cities here would be somehow recorded in the records of the Vatican, probably, and that they would show every town layout that belonged first to the Hellenic Greeks and then to the Romans. But as much as I've asked people, there is no record of that, which really astounds me. When you think about the efforts that the Romans put into collecting taxes and to building streets and the networks they built throughout Europe and Asia and Africa is extraordinary. And still, there's no record of the town plan of a town like this. I find it hard to believe, really hard to believe. But who am I? Okay, so this is I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna keep filming. What the hell? This is the way they would use to walk into this area of town. But now, lined with columns, of course. Now if I go down there, last time I was here you couldn't go down there. I think they're excavating that as well. And there's a back of a building which is probably a temple. Still standing. I'm sure it's a temple. Because the temple was built like that. I wonder who it's dedicated to. And then you go in here, and this would be like the lower part of town, I think, you know. When the town starts to expand, like first with the Greeks and then with the Romans, then they have to expand the town, just like today, you know. I live near Munich, and Munich's just expanding to accommodate the growing population. I can't tell you what we're looking at now. I have to study this more, what's written about. I can't even pronounce the name of this town, Stratonikeia. I'm sorry. My Greek is very rudimentary. But you see here that this would be also a temple, without a doubt. Why do I say it's a temple? Because of the size of the walls are so massive. You know, there's graffiti on it now. You can see graffiti written there. But if we come up here, take a look at it. Then I would see, this is clear that this is a temple. Or a hot bath. Well, I don't know. No, this is probably a bath. Maybe in a private home. Alright, I'm going to make my way to the theater. So I pointed out on my way here that there was what looks like a temple, and I'm sure this is a temple because the staircase that goes up is indicative of a temple. It's a way of elevating into another consciousness or another plane. And now the question for me is, first of all, this temple is enormous. Maybe I'm fooling myself again. I think I am. This looks like the Senate, but this can't be. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not a reliable archaeologist in this sense, because if you look at the size of these stones here, it normally wouldn't be built for a civic building. Now, it could have been converted. This is what I would think. I think maybe the Greeks built a huge temple here. I'm actually sure of it now. And when the Romans came, they said, nice job. We're going to make out of it a place for the Senate to meet. And here again, you see that the Turks have taken original stone and reproduced the seats. And this is where the senators would meet to decide the fate of the town. And that looks Greek and Roman, based on the size of these walls around me and the staircase. There was a temple here at one time. And the question is, if Hecate was the main deity venerated here, who was venerated in the town associated with Hecate? Because her temple complex, I guess, is about 10 kilometers down a sacred road in that direction. Maybe we have a sign here. Let's see. No, they call it the city town hall. Yeah, but I think that we're looking at two different generations here. We're looking at the Greek incarnation of this, and then afterwards the Roman. About 10 minutes from town. And there's a wall down there, and nice paths, marble-lined paths. And now I'm walking up to the theater, which you can see that they're renovating currently. It's a big job, and I have faith in them now that they're going to do it properly. Like I said, normally I'd be extremely skeptical, but I'm sure they're going to use marble or whatever. The stone is here. Here are all the columns, and this is how you'd enter clearly down through here, because there's the heart of the city, and then you would come into here. You know, this was all covered with landslides. That's what you can see that, because right there the hillside is right behind it, so they just had to remove all the dirt. But with the landslide, it can wash away a lot of stones, as we know, a lot, because the landslide is strong and it just washes the stones down. So you see that the upper level is much more affected than the lower level, because that's going to get hit first. And also the cheap seats up there were not as well constructed as the more expensive seats here. You know, the lower seats were for people who were a bit more wealthy. And you can see on the right side that there's no seats there at all. And either they're underneath the dirt, I doubt it. And you can just see the stones piled up way, way, way. And they're gonna try to recreate the stage here. And if you look at this again, the formula is, if 20,000 people fit into this theater, then the population of the city was then 200,000. But as I said, I cannot abide by that calculation anymore, especially when I see the size of the gymnasium here. Then I think that they'd have to readjust that formula. Yeah, but at least they're doing this, you know. And at least, you know, I can say one thing. Look at, even up there, there's a column. God bless the Turks that they didn't take all these stones and just integrate them into their homes. Yeah. Here's a staircase up to the upper seats. This is amazing. I mean, you see that in Malay and in Ephesus. But this is almost equal in the size of the theater in Malay. Maybe a bit smaller. Okay, good. And I'm blown away, because if you think about it, okay, this is where people would meet in the morning to do their daily business. And if you look at it, how many seats do they have on this side? Probably at least, a rough guess would be at least 25, if not 30. And then how many seats do they have this side here? This was the entrance. You know, maybe 20. And then again, another 30. That means they could have as many as 80, 85 people here meeting to, you know, exchange the gossip and talk about the news, at the same time relieving themselves. And I just want to show you something else. You know, we think that we live good in the Western world, which some of us do and some of us don't. I know that. I appreciate that. But I didn't go here, and I just want to show you this enormous bath. It is enormous. And this would be a place, I take it, that the people would come to bathe. Again, the rich and the poor. The poor could come on specific days, but everybody had a right to take a bath. Everybody. And this would be a place they would come and sit on there, and again, you know, shoot the shit, as it were. And the water would come in from there and go out probably through there. Impressive, really impressive. Yeah. So you would do your constitution and come here and take a nice bath. Here are probably the changing halls. The video today. Just here. And have a coffee and head back to the hotel. It's been a nice day, long day. And this is the northern entrance to the city. And it's quite elaborate. It was done by the Greeks and preserved by the Romans. And my guess is, it doesn't say it there, that this would be the sacred street, which leads then over the hill here to the temple of Hecate. Because this would be the direction, because I just came from there. And it's quite elaborate, so I would imagine there would be merchants here on the side, you know, selling refreshments or something. Mosaics are there as well. This town was very wealthy, that's clear, very wealthy. They lived in style, and you know, some of these towns tend to be more wealthy than the others for whatever reason, trade reasons. But this is clearly a place here where the merchants would, maybe not, I don't know if the merchants would have a floor which is done with mosaics. But, and then you go up here, there's a highway, by the way. So the highway now splits it. Here you see the recycled capitals. And you see structures which probably like a reservoir for water. And then you see the right here, you can see they play games here as always. I think they show us even the original level of the street, although I doubt it because I don't see any mosaics on there, nothing. And then you come here. Normally one of those arches would be for people to enter the city, and another would be for the people to exit the city. Beautiful. This is probably graffiti, without a doubt. Here's a cross, okay, a Templar cross. But still some nice graffiti, like the Flower of Life. Yeah. And I don't know if that speaks about the volume of traffic in and out of the city. It would seem so. It would seem that if they had to have two, an entrance and an exit, and it has nothing to do with the Corona time. We have to have a little humor, everybody, after this nightmare of a episode with this virus. And I'm going to go up there and read the sign, but you can see how big the arch is. And like I said, over this hillside here, about 8-10 kilometers, is the extraordinary temple of Hecate in Lagina. And now, this is the northern gate and the northern foundation wall located on the point of the sacred road. Yes, okay. This is the sacred road coming from and going to the Hecate sanctuary in Lagina. Yeah, so I was right. So this is the part or arrive if you came to visit the city, if your intention was to pay homage to Hecate, then you would pass through one of these arches and basically go into a trance state. That was the design of these sacred ways, is that you would go into a deep meditative state. That once you reach the temple and you were greeted by the priest or priestesses, you would be in a state where you could actually have an encounter with the deity in some way or the other, either by offering some sort of animal. And that was the whole system. I'm sorry, now it's getting windy. That was the whole system in the Greek Empire. Is that there was a number of towns like Ephesus itself, and Milet was a good example. Claros, where I was, they all have sacred streets connected to them. And here is a good example of that, because sometimes you can, Didma in Milet, you see very little remaining from it. But not only here do you see what remains on the floor, but you also see the entrance gates, you know. So, like I said, I'm not sure if you were going to see Hecate, you would go, it seems like the path goes that way. Actually, there's some graves over there, tombs over there, esophaguses over there, I remember that. But if you were coming back to the city, you would pass through here. Fantastic. 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 Okay. Hope you enjoyed it. And that's one thing to watch a video about this, especially from my perspective. And it's another thing So you look at this, now you wonder about this. Here's a stone, and it's like an L-shaped, and then they put a stone in there. Is that structural, or is it just, I don't know. Yeah, so let's make our way back to the city, over the sacred street, and have ourselves the Turkish coffee, and then head back to Ephesus.